It's time for a few video game icons and classic 2D gameplay. We've got two Sonic games to check out, Sonic Forces and Sonic Mania. Marty Sleeve and I are ready to see both with Aaron Weber. Aaron, welcome to the show.
Thanks very much. Good to be here.
Which one should we start with?
I think
Forces or Mania?
Maybe some Mania to get started.
Okay, let's do some Sonic Mania.
Yeah.
This is the more retro one of the two, right?
This is the 2D game, that's right. And Sonic Mania is being built by fans that have become professional developers. And so it's really exciting because they've got this certain level of passion that you're not going to find anywhere else, right? It's like when you grow up with a video game, when you're breathing and sleeping and dreaming about it, that's the kind of people that make something really special because they put the extra love into it. And that's what Sonic Mania is really about.
Yeah, I mean, Sonic, especially core 2D Sonic games as a whole, have been around long enough to where, you know, kids who grew up on them are now in their 20s, 30s, and so they are getting jobs in the games industry. And so they're taking that thing they played so much as a kid, and then all of a sudden the roles reverse, and they're the creators.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And it's kind of cool because on one hand, you get to be part of something very special in that sense, right? You get to be part of creating this new Sonic game. And on the other hand, you want to also kind of be true to what came before. And so that's a really cool sort of duality to Sonic Mania that the developers have done here. It's Christian Whitehead. It's the guy that did the mobile remasters for Sonic 1 and 2 and CD. He did a great job, and we're like, well, instead of having this guy do mobile remasters forever, why don't we make new content, like new 2D content? Because we knew a lot of people would want to see that.
So what is there, I mean, game design as a whole has changed a lot in the past 25 years.
Oh, tons, right?
Tons. So what do you have to do in order to keep the essence of Sonic that people loved in like the early 90s, but still like have it really accessible to people in 2017?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great question. And it's one that I know even you guys at IGN are like constantly debating, like what makes a good Sonic game, right? And I have a great time watching those videos, by the way. I just want to throw that out there. From the social media side, we love watching that stuff. So one thing that I think is really key about Sonic is he's known for his speed, right? But when it comes to the 2D games, it's important to remember that it wasn't just about going fast. We love the catchphrase, gotta go fast. We put it on our Twitter channel all the time. We love Sonic. But it's important to remember that the original Sonic games were about speed as a reward, right? There we go. We can take a look at some footage here. So the games are a bit about like platforming as well. It's not just about running fast blindly because there are traps, there are spikes, there are pits, there's water. You've got to watch out for this kind of stuff. So you can't just hold right to win. You can't just hold one button, and you've got to kind of memorize and practice. And that's what made the game so good back then. I mean, the classic games, like you could play and beat like Sonic 1 or 2 or 3. A lot of the games we're kind of referencing in Sonic Mania, you could beat those in a few hours. But the trick was that once you beat it, you weren't done. You would go back, you'd play the level again and be like, oh, I didn't know there was a whole different path through here, or I didn't know there were special stages here, or I didn't know that this character could do this here, right? Different abilities for Tails and Knuckles. We've got Sonic and Tails and Knuckles, all playable, of course, in Sonic Mania.
So for real, I feel like the chemical plant in Sonic 2 was the first time I had a panic attack, and I was like a child.
Was it the drowning music?
And it's the way the music would just get bum, 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 bum. That was the first real terror I faced probably in my entire life.
That's, in my opinion, one of the world's best alarm clocks, by the way.
God, that'd be awful.
Just get the drowning music.
Get out of bed, though.
You will be up and hitting that alarm real fast.
I don't like that at all.
So you mentioned the music. How are you going about recreating the feel and sound of the original music?
Okay, this is cool too. So every aspect of Sonic Mania is being touched upon by fans who have become professionals in one way or another. The art, the updated pixel sprites done by an artist who loved Sonic and is now working on that. Like that opening animation where Sonic pops up and spins around that we put in the reveal trailer. He built that over 2 weeks before our reveal last year. The music is the same way. There's a guy called T. Lopes. He started actually doing fan remixes of Sonic music, and now he's doing the actual remixes and brand new tracks for Sonic Mania.
How do you, so this has sort of been this appetizer platter of things from each of the classic Sonic games in terms of world motifs and sort of abilities and hooks. How did you go about looking past, into the original Sonic games and picking and choosing what you wanted to bring in this one and how you wanted to tweak it?
Yes, okay, this part was remarkably hard because you look at like Sonic 1 and Sonic 2 and Sonic 3, and we know there's a ton of fans out there, very passionate fans watching the stream right now. Hi guys, love you. And these people, they want to see everything, right? To them, it's like, I would want all of this. And on top of that, they would love to see a ton of new stuff too. And so we wanted to present something that gave them not only a bit of a nostalgic throwback, but a nostalgic throwback with new elements. And then on top of that, we give them brand new levels like Studiopolis or Mirage Saloon, both which we may have already shown in the background or are going to be showing, right? And so those are places that haven't shown up in any Sonic games. So the way we kind of cut it up is we went, we're going to take like the Act 1 and Act 2. Every Sonic game has an Act 1 and Act 2. So we're going to take the Act 2 of any of the classic levels, the levels that there we go, some Green Hill. This is Green Hill Act 2, actually. So even even though this is Green Hill Zone, this never existed in the old Sonic games. This is a brand new level layout. There are references to the original prototypes from the first Sonic game, like hidden in the background, the giant totem poles, what you're seeing there. And whatever that was.
That was an interesting feature that was built into the game.
That was more of an IGN feature than anything.
IGN exclusive. Right. Hey, we're back. Look at that. So
this is a new Sonic game. We're not looking at Sonic 1, 2, or 3 right here.
No, exactly. And so like this spike bridge right there is a reference to the original Sonic game. You can do other cool things. Like if we get that fire shield.
That's definitely Sonic 3.
Which is from Sonic 3, exactly. If we run that fire shield over the bridge, we can burn the bridge, right? So now there's this interactivity in the levels, and we can use that to get to the secret items down below. And so it's really all about saying, when we say classic stage, people know that we mean one act that is a little bit similar to what you remember, but has some new stuff, and then an act 2 that is totally different from what you're expecting.
I like the idea of sort of luring fans in with the familiar, and then it's not a bait and switch, but then giving them something totally unexpected, or melding in these moments from several games at once to be like, oh, I haven't had to do this before. Like, let me figure out what to do right now.
Yeah, exactly. And it's, for us, it's kind of cool because the proof is really, it's there. Like, you have a developer like Christian Whitehead who has proven he can not only take the originals, but when he made those mobile remasters, he actually improved the games on like Sonic 1 and 2 and CD. And so you take his stuff and you go, all right, we've got this guy super passionate. Let's see what he can do when they're making new content, right? You have that entire team, a guy called Christian, Simon, and a team called Pagoda West are the 3 groups that are making this happen. And each of those guys so passionate. So they add all these elements from different Sonic games and splice it together. This is a cool moment. All right, this is the first boss, the first real boss in the game. It's a throwback.
Looks scarier than, well, this seems like an end game boss right now.
It was actually. This was the final boss from Sonic 2, and we just kind of revealed it recently that this was the very first boss in the game. And so we wanted fans to be playing this and to go, ah, yes, Green Hill Zone. I remember strolling about the beautiful hillsides.
And you're like, nope.
The waterfalls, the final boss from Sonic 2. Wait a minute, that was not here. And so having those kind of surprise moments is really cool for us. And we're just trying to do our best right now not to spoil anything else. Because there's so many cool moments in the game where we're like, we'll show a little bit, and we want to leave a good amount for people to see and just have their jaw drop, you know, when they play the game.
One of the things that differed a little bit in every game were sort of the bonus stages, the special stages. Whether you were in a half pipe, whether you're in like the pachinko board or the sphere maze.
That's right.
What are we going to see in this one? Can you say?
I can't really go into detail, but I can tell you we are certainly considering all of that kind of stuff as far as the full game is concerned. To us, it is very important that you have that full experience, right? And so bonus stages are a key part of that.
Is there a chance it could be a 5v5 MOBA? Sonic MOBA?
Now that you mention it.
If you guys do that, I'm getting a cut of it.
You know anybody that works at Riot?
We'll talk after this.
Okay, all right.
So Sonic Mania is a Switch game? It's not just coming to Switch,
Not just Nintendo Switch. It's going to be pretty much on every major platform. So we're coming out Xbox One, PlayStation 4, Nintendo Switch, and also PC. Though it's primarily a single-player game, there was one thing we also wanted to really get right, and that is, if you grew up like me and you had a little brother, and that little brother in Sonic 2 or 3 was like, I want to play, the game too, and you're like, nah, little bro, I'm playing right now, right? You remember those days, right? And mom and dad are like, hey, let him play. Well,
I was actually the little bro, so right now I'm totally sympathizing with your brother.
So the great thing about Sonic 2 and 3 is that you could say, all right, little bro, take the second Genesis controller and play as Tails, and you can play together. And even though the camera really only follows the first player, right, the second player can come in as Tails, help you get items. The cool thing about Tails is Tails can die as much as they want, and it doesn't penalize you. So there's that joke in the Sonic community that Tails can never die.
I like to think that's canonical. Like he's like
he's immortal.
Yeah, Methuselah.
I'm here to tell you today that everything is canon and has been forever.
I legitimately thought you were going to say everything can die and everyone eventually dies. So I'm like, oh no, Sonic got dark.
That would get remarkably dark. I wouldn't take it that far. But
is this the first bar in a 2D Sonic game? We just literally ran through a saloon.
That's why it's rated M.
Yeah.
That's not a bar. That is a juice vending area.
Yeah.
The Sonic characters drink juice. Apple juice, pineapple juice. Lots of water. They like to stay healthy so they can run so
They don't want
much.
to get a cramp. That'd be an awful feature in the game. So this is a new motif,
level.
right?
Yeah. The cool thing about this level is this is kind of inspired by a level that was cut and never made it into one of the older Sonic games. And one of the developers, Christian, had been trying for so long to find a way to get this back in, had tried to put it in one of the past mobile remasters, didn't work, and he's like, all right, we're making a new game. We're going to make this thing happen. And so they built this level. There are posters. Here, this is Mirage Saloon. There are posters around of wanted posters that have faces of past Sonic characters on them that are kind of like out there. You guys may or may not know this. You ever heard of a game called Sonic the Fighters?
Was that
heard the name.
Was that for one of the stranger Sonic Sega consoles?
Yeah,
it was like 32X.
It was a weird one. It was in the arcades
Okay.
even, and so then they ported it. It was on like a GameCube collection later, and it was a fighting thing, believe it or not. And there's a couple characters from that game that even show up.
I love that.
And so there's a lot of cool things in here, little nods that we put in for the fans. But the cool thing about this kind of a game is that you don't have to be a hardcore Sonic fan to like this. You pick up the controller, you're like, oh, that's how I move.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I roll, I jump. That's it, right?
Yeah.
And you pick up golden rings to not die, and that's pretty much how the game flows. And so just like the originals, it's kind of got that level of intricacy, but likewise the same ease to pick up and play that the originals had too.
So like, how authentic are you trying to be? Like, could these new levels have run on the Sega Genesis? Like, try to limit yourself to what could have worked?
I wouldn't say Genesis. What the team wanted to do is say, so Sonic and Knuckles, right? What would be the next step after Sonic and Knuckles?
I see.
If this was like a 2D platform that maybe ran on the Sega Saturn, that's actually the level that they are going for. So the Sega Saturn is kind of the bar that they are trying to stick to.
Yeah,
You're speaking my language. Yeah. Are you utilizing the power of the Xbox One X?
Yes.
Well, as you can see, the graphics are very intense.
Yeah.
And really, the only way to play it is in 4K.
Sure.
Otherwise, those pixels get really messed up.
I love that.
So what's the thing that gets you the most excited about Sonic Mania?
Oh man, can I say all of it? But
Yeah.
So the graphics are awesome because it's a throwback. The controls are perfect because as someone who cares a lot, like I grew up playing Sonic games, right? It's important that classic Sonic feels like it controls right. Christian and his team have made sure that it is spot on, right? If not improved it in some ways. The music is great. Like it's the entire package. And what I'm most excited for is playing through it and seeing those new experiences and then getting to watch our fans as they play it and play, put it on YouTube or stream it and to watch their reactions when they get to those moments that we've hidden in the game just to see what they do. Yeah.
I love that.